In the vast blue of the Pacific, a tiny island became the stage for one of World War II's most brutal and decisive battles. This is the story of the Battle of Saipan, a conflict that brought the grim reality of total war to America's doorstep and spelled the beginning of the end for the Empire of Japan. June 15, 1944. Over 70,000 U.S. Marines and soldiers stormed the beaches of Saipan, part of the Mariana Islands. Their mission, to capture this critical strategic outpost. Why Saipan? Its location was key. Taking the island would put American B-29 Superfortress bombers within striking range of the Japanese mainland, a game-changer for the war in the Pacific. The Japanese defenders, numbering around 30,000 and led by Lieutenant General Yoshitsugu Sato, were dug in and prepared to fight to the last man. They had spent months fortifying the island's caves, jungles, and volcanic terrain, turning Saipan into a formidable fortress. The American landing was met with ferocious resistance. Beaches quickly turned into chaotic killing fields, with heavy machine gun fire and artillery raining down on the advancing troops. What made Saipan so different, so horrifying, was the presence of a large civilian population. Nearly 25,000 Japanese settlers and native Chamorro and Carolinian people were caught in the crossfire. The fighting wasn't confined to battle lines. It engulfed the entire island. American forces used flamethrowers and explosives to clear out caves, often with devastating consequences for anyone hiding inside. The battle was a relentless inch-by-inch struggle through dense jungle and rugged hills. As the Americans pushed north, the Japanese forces were compressed into a smaller and smaller pocket. Facing certain defeat, General Sato delivered his final orders: whether we attack or whether we stay where we are, there's only death. He then ordered a final, desperate charge, the largest banzai charge of the Pacific War, on July 7th in the dead of night. Nearly 4,000 Japanese soldiers, many wounded, and armed with little more than bamboo spears or bayonets, threw themselves at the American lines. The charge was an act of suicidal defiance, overwhelming the initial American defenses through sheer numbers and fanaticism. The fighting was hand-to-hand, savage, and lasted for over 15 hours. When it was over, the Japanese force was annihilated, and the Americans had suffered heavy casualties. The battle officially ended on July 9th, but the tragedy was far from over. Japanese military propaganda had convinced civilians that they would be tortured and killed by the American soldiers. Fearing capture, thousands of families made their way to the island's northern cliffs. In one of the war's most heartbreaking episodes, entire families, mothers holding their children, leaped to their deaths from what are now known as Banzai Cliff and Suicide Cliff. American soldiers, who had just fought a brutal battle, could only watch in horror, pleading with them through interpreters to stop. The Battle of Saipan was a victory for the Allies, but it came at a staggering cost. The U.S. suffered over 14,000 casualties. The Japanese garrison was almost completely wiped out. But the greatest tragedy was the loss of thousands of civilian lives. The battle's ferocity, particularly the final banzai charge and the mass civilian suicides, deeply shocked American military leaders. It gave them a terrifying preview of what an invasion of the Japanese home islands would look like, influencing the eventual decision to use the atomic bomb. Today, Saipan is a peaceful island, but the scars of 1944 remain, serving as a solemn reminder of the price of war and the human cost of conflict.